Hi guys, it's Oli from Season. I'm excited to be joined today by Red Bull crashed ice and ice cross athlete Jim De Paoli. Jim,
Hello.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
And whereabouts are you at the moment?
So at the moment, I'm in my hometown in Geneva, Switzerland. I didn't move from the whole summer, and actually since everything stopped worldwide, I would say. So I didn't move. I just stayed there and enjoying the summer here in Geneva and working at the same time.
Okay, nice. And what was the what's the situation like? How's it been, during the pandemic?
I think well, it stopped kind of within 24, 48 hours, like everywhere. Everything shut down. The gym I worked for just shut down. The hockey team I'm working with also, we stopped every kind of games and practices and everything. And so yeah, for like about 2 weeks, we just completely locked down. We didn't go anywhere. We just stayed home. Went out for like basic groceries, but mostly like stayed home for 2-3 weeks, I think. And
Okay.
then it started to be a little bit easier to move around. I think people in Switzerland kind of really went like they were a bit careful about what happened, so they took it seriously. And thanks to that, we were able to kind of go out a bit sooner than some other country, or we were able to open shops and, I don't know, hairdresser and the gyms and not necessary goods, but secondary service a bit earlier. So thanks to that, we had maybe a shorter period of confinement than some other country are actually at the moment.
Right, that's good. And you were actually on tour when all this was going on, is that right?
Yeah. So when everything started, it was, I don't know if it was a bit strange, because we had a lot of news about that boat in Japan. We had like kind of a boat that some people infected were on the boat, a cruise, and they just completely shut down the cruise. And the race we were at in Yokohama, we had like the view on the ship that were all these people infected by the virus. So that was kind of the very beginning of when we got aware of, okay, there is something serious happening. So the Japan race went on, and then we had a couple others in Canada, and I'm not sure where that I didn't go. And then end of February, I think, I was in St. Petersburg for the last race of the season. And they canceled 2 others. So the one in Italy that was supposed to happen a week after St. Petersburg, and the one in Moscow that was supposed to be the grand finale, they both canceled. And so yeah, that was kind of very, very close to the situation. I didn't know if I should book another flight or what would happen. But then when we knew that it was completely over, it's when the border started to close, and that Russia said that, okay, people coming from the States or Europe or Spain, they would not be able to enter the country. So this is when we kind of knew that, okay, the season is over. We can just stop training. And I was actually at the gym doing a workout, and I got an email in the middle of my workout, and they say, okay, the season is over. And I was there in the middle of a set, and I just put all the weights down and just stopped everything and went home and didn't even finish my workout.
It's so surreal. I remember I was in Carnival in Cologne, and it was just the beginning, and yeah, sort of end of February around the 27th, and there was talk of, like one or two people got infected in Cologne, and then the thought of it like spreading across whether there was like 3 or 4 million people there. Super surreal, and still is. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to take it back to where you grew up and how you got into skating. Where did that all begin?
So basically, I grew up in Geneva, Switzerland, so where I'm staying at the moment. I was born in Geneva. I grew up in Geneva. I started playing hockey when I was very young, around I don't know, 4 or 5. That was the very first time that I started skating. I joined a club quite early as well, when I was again 6 maybe, but I only play a few years until maybe 10 or something like that, because at the same time I was playing tennis, and then I had to choose between tennis and hockey, and I was a little bit more talented at playing tennis, so this is what I decided to do. But not for long. I played until 14 or 15, and then it was like, no, that's not what I want to do. So I switched back to hockey, and then this is why I really got into the sport and ice skating and everything. But because I missed a few years playing hockey, I missed all the skill sets and the stick handling and all that stuff that you learn when you are a kid. So it was really hard for me to come back from what I was missing. So I said, okay, the only thing I can be better at is by being actually faster than some other people, to be faster on skates or to be stronger. So I really focused my off-season training and my skill set on being fast at skating. And it didn't really help me playing hockey, so I still play, but like at the amateur level. But it helped me for ice cross. Obviously, it was good for that. I didn't know it at the moment because I was 16, 17, 18, and my first race I was 20. So I didn't know that all what I was doing was at the end not helping me for hockey. It did a little bit, but for ice cross. On the side, I was also doing a lot of skiing. So this I never stopped skiing, snowboarding, water skiing, all that kind of different sport where you need like balance and that you spend some time in the air as well. Mountain biking, because that's something that we noticed really important, is when you do ice cross, if you are good at skating on flat ice, that's like maybe the minimum that you need. But there is so many other stuff that you will need to learn and develop, and especially I don't know how we can call this in English, but when you are in the air, the air awareness. When you talk with people doing rollerblading or motocross or stuff like that, you can see that the guys, they are controlling what they are doing in the air. It's just not like I'm going to take off, see what happened, and then try to land. So being able to know what you do when you're in the air and maybe readjust something that you did wrong is also something very important.
And I mean, how would you define like what is ice cross? I mean, to me, it looks like say like border cross or ski cross, but on ice skates.
Yeah,
going down this gnarly downhill course. Yeah,
I think the closest sport I can think of is ski cross.
Okay.
I talk with some professional ski cross racer as well, and when we talk about how we practice, what skill set you need and everything, it's basically everything I'm trying to improve and work on as well. So it's exactly the same. I would say the track is designed kind of the same. Of course, you go a little bit faster on skis, and the track is a little bit longer, but beside that, I think there are 6 guys racing in ski cross, 6 or 8, I'm not sure. But that's the only difference. So basically you just start and you have jumps, turns, and gliding, and yeah, so many things that we have also in ice cross. The only maybe different thing that we might have that ski cross doesn't have is uphill section. So sometimes we have uphill section where we really need to skate. While doing ski cross, you just glide and trying to keep up the speed, but you will never have like an uphill section when you actually need to skate and try to keep up the speed. So that's maybe the only difference and the closest sport that I can relate on.
Right, and you were 20 years old when you did your first race.
So yeah, I was 20, about 20. It was 2008, February 2008 in Davos. And at that time, it was not even a championship. They just organized a race like that for kind of a show. That was the sport until 2008. So from 2001 to 2009, it was just 1 or 2 races a year as a show, like Red Bull knows how to do it. It was just simple qualifiers on flat ice, or they invited people there and there, and they just put on a race, and that's it. No point. no championship, no nothing. And that's only in 2010 that they started to introduce the World Championship. So have multiple races during the year. Then you could collect points and everything. Mm-hmm. And this is when it started to really grow, and we started to have more and more races.
Nice. And was Red Bull, were they involved early on, like when they were kind of doing the demonstration races?
If I remember right, that's what Red Bull was organizing the races from the beginning. So from 2001, mm-hmm. I think the very first race was in Sweden, in Stockholm, in the fish market. And the way they did the ice was with the ice from the fish market that they just took it from when it was done. So it was actually a very smelly race when I talked with Jasper, for example, who won that race. He said that was a track, no board on the side or not much. But the thing he remembered the most, besides maybe winning the event, is the smell of the track, because it was used with the track was made with ice from the fish market. So that was funny. But yeah, from that day, Red Bull was organizing the event. And then starting from 2010 and especially now, there is like the ATSX, which is the Skate Cross Association or Federation, I'm not sure exactly, mm-hmm. that is organizing the race, and Red Bull is just a sponsor that is going to pay for the main event. But then we have other events like smaller races that we can have in ski resort or cold place, because most of the time it's on natural ice, where Red Bull is not necessarily involved. So we have the TSX that is like the host that is organizing everything, and then we have sponsors, a little bit like the FIS, which is like the the organigram of the ski that organize all the ski competition. But then you're going to have one sponsor that is going to organize one race, and then another one that is going to organize another one or support another one, depending which countries. And that's a little bit what Red Bull is doing at the moment. Okay.
And I mean, like looking back, you've been doing this now for over for 2 decades, right? And
yeah.
Is there any, like any moment where you kind of look at it and go, okay, well, like any sort of scary moments or any races that you thought, okay, that was pretty wild?
I've never been scared doing that, and that's one thing that I think you shouldn't be. If you're scared doing something, for sure you're gonna get injured. So, but the thing is, you should not be stupid and do something that you don't know if you're gonna be able to make it or not. Mm-hmm. So that's what I say. Don't take any unnecessary risk. Do what you're able to do, and maybe it might look, I don't know, crazy or dangerous or everything, but the reason maybe why I never got seriously injured, so I got a couple sprained shoulder, but that's not like a big deal compared to broken bones or concussion and stuff like that. And I was always aware of what I was able to do, and knowing what are my limits, and trying to really be as close as possible to these limits. And yeah, this is why I think I'm glad I didn't got hurt so far doing the sport. So not very scary moment, but maybe also that would be a reason why I, for example, didn't win a world championship individual race, because I won one in team but not individual. It's maybe because I didn't maybe push a little bit more when I should have pushed to just maybe win another race or another heat or something like that. So I always was on the like too careful to make sure that I would make it to the end, and maybe not be first or second to go next. But I didn't want to take any unnecessary risk. Maybe it would have passed, maybe not. This I don't know. I will never know. But I always was on the side of being maybe too careful.
Okay. And now, do you look at so going forward from that? Is that something that you think you would look to change, or you think?
I don't know. I'm not sure, because that's what also that was also, made me possible to race without missing any race. So maybe I would try something, and say, okay, this race, I don't care. I'm just going to go all out and don't care about anything. And I know even if I'm not able to do that jump or go in that corner full speed, I'm going to do it anyway. And maybe it's going to pass, maybe not. But I also take the risk of getting injured, like seriously injured, and miss the second race or the third race. And that's something I'm not ready to take as a risk. So I think I'm just going to continue racing the way I've been racing, especially the last 3 years where I started to really have good result again. And maybe I'm just going to focus on my off-season training and maybe be a little bit, stronger or a bit faster. I don't need to take these risks because my level is high enough, rather than, be at my limit 100%. And trying to do something that I'm not sure I'm able to, just to go one more round and taking the risk to miss the rest of the season.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, like it's that balance of taking the risk and then missing the whole season, which is, which is a possibility, right? Looking into your training, like what are you doing off season at the moment? I mean, how are you staying?
So basically the way it works is that the season usually ends mid-March, end of March. And I don't do nothing for like 6 to 8 weeks. I just don't skate. I don't lift any weights. I barely run. I don't bike. I do really nothing, just to rest my brain, rest my body, and think about something else. And then I slowly start to do, basic activity, a little bit of biking, a little bit of running. I try to participate in some very friendly, easy triathlon just to get my body working again. So nothing very, very difficult. And then starting from June, July, I'm starting to lift some weight a little bit, do kind of CrossFit workouts, and trying to be a bit stronger before we hit the ice. So next week we're gonna go back on the ice, but I'm gonna keep that CrossFit-like training combined with ice. So playing hockey or just coaching kids, power skating and stuff like that for a few months. And then the closer we're gonna get to the season, the closer I'm gonna try to imitate the intensity and the time I'm gonna work. So basically, a run is like 45 seconds, maybe a minute max. So my workout are gonna be based on explosivity and maybe high intensity for like a minute, and then rest a minute and do stuff like that. So the effort that I produce during a race, I'm gonna try to, reproduce that during the off season.
Nice. And do you involve like inline skating as well and rollerblading, or is it?
For a little bit, like during summer, I play a little bit of roller hockey, and then I do a little bit of pump track and skate park and stuff like that, but not much. Okay. Do you hear me right, or do you have that sound behind? A little bit?
No, it's fine. Yeah,
it's fine.
That's right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There's a fan because now it's really hot where we are, and we just turn on the fan. So I was worried that it's too noisy, but if it's good, perfect.
So
not much of rollerblading. I kind of enjoy the pump track and stuff like that, and it really helped for what we discussed about, like the air awareness and being able to control yourself when you're in the air. But sadly, I don't have any big park or big pump track close to my home. It's maybe like at least an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. So I would really need to plan this in advance to go and do it. So I have a small skate park in Geneva that I try to hit maybe once a week when I'm really close to the season or in season, just to keep my legs moving, but don't do anything very hard on the legs. But that's it. Not much more than that.
And when you can go again, when travel sort of opens up, I mean, are there any particular places or stops on the tour that are sort of your favorite or that you really like going to?
Well, I am really looking forward to go race in Moscow. Like they built a track in the Patriot Park in Moscow that just looked amazing. I went there last summer and skated the track on rollerblades. So they had a race on rollerblades. So I was able to skate the track with that. And during winter, we were supposed to have ice. So they had ice, but it was supposed to be the final stop. But the track is just insane. It's crazy what they built there. It's a mix of every single skill that you can have in the sport. It's fast. There is some big jumps, and there is also a long, flat uphill part that you're gonna see the people with very good physical condition and the one that train a little bit less to really separate from the pack. And that's the race I'm kind of looking for the most, is this one, just because of what they managed to build there. And then, of course, every stops in Canada is crazy. If you go to Montreal, Ottawa, or where did we go again? Niagara Falls. These were also, crazy stops. It was good races and everything because the weather and everything, they were good, but also because the people there, they just love the sport as well, and there is so many people coming to the race, so the atmosphere is crazy there. So that's always a place where I really like to go.
Cool. And would you say, like, is it a crossover between the people that are and people that are also the athletes as well? Would you say that that there's a lot of people that kind of?
I think I missed the beginning of the question.
I don't know. Maybe the fan. I don't know if that's a two.
Yeah. No, it's your screen that actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I was wondering about the fans, and with the spectators as well as the athletes, if there's a similarity of those that play hockey and those that like hockey to those that are kind of.
Sure. I think because we kind of look like hockey player, or at least in the beginning when we started the sport, we looked exactly like hockey player without the stick. So it was very close, and I would say 90% of the people in the sport come from hockey or still play hockey. So it's very, very close from the sport. Unlike what I said before, where I think the closest sport is ski cross, most of the athlete comes from hockey, just because of the skating aspect, and you need to know how to ice skate, where people doing ski cross, they know how to skis, but not necessarily how to ice skate. So people skating on flat ice, I would say, have a better chance to be good at the sport rather than people doing skiing, like downhill or ski cross or anything. But yeah, people are like so much into the sport, and they kind of like that, like North American show with all the contacts and the fast sport and everything, and what Red Bull is also able to put on as a show with the big screens and the light and the music and everything. And the North American, they just love that kind of entertainment. So I think this is why there is such a big passion of the sport in North America. It's mainly because of that.
Okay. And some of these locations, they actually put these scaffolding and they make the courses right in the cities, don't they? Which is just awesome.
So that was crazy. Like the best years in Quebec City, where we had over 100,000 people coming to watch the race, was in the old Quebec, and that was just crazy, the setup they managed to do. And the streets were so narrow, and the people were able to fit in like within this space, and came maybe 4 or 5 hours before the race just to have a good spot. And the venue was just crazy in the old town Quebec City. So that was like one of the best races I went, and yeah, what they're able to do when they build the track in city centers, that's just crazy. Ottawa as well was very crazy on the canal, and that's just very beautiful to watch. But we realize that when the race is over, when we watch the replays, because when we skate, if we are in the middle of nowhere in Finland or in the city center of St. Paul or in Ottawa, we don't really see much when we are going down the track. I don't even notice the people around until I'm at actually the end, or when I see the replay with all the people around. And that's what's crazy.
Yeah, cool. And how do you see like the evolution of the sport? How's it developing? Are they doing many changes within the core?
For the last 3 or 4 years, we had first what we call the Riders Cup. So that's like a second level of races. It's a little bit like tennis. You have the Grand Slam, the big tournament. So that's the one that Red Bull would get involved in. For example, the one that you see on TV in Quebec City or in Ottawa, or the one in Moscow. That's the big race. And then you have the second level. Now it's called ATSX 500, where a ski resort can organize it, or anyone with a good support, like a good community to put it on a race, or a good event organizer that wants to organize a race. You can do that. It's strongly recommended to use a cooling system, because we never know what can happen with the weather. So unless you are in a ski resort, like, I don't know, 2,000 meters or higher, like in Avoria, not far from Geneva, actually, in France, where they had a race, you can organize that kind of race. And we also have a third level, so it's called ATSX 250. It's kind of the same than the ATSX 500. It's just that the track is going to be a little bit easier, and it's perfect for people that want to get involved in the sport, like beginners. So there is no big jumps, there is not much speed and everything. It's a bit safer as well. So you don't need to take any risk, and it's perfect to just try the sport for the first time.
Nice. And what advice would you give to people that are looking to give the sport a try?
You need to try it at least once. Don't go crazy. Try to find the nearest race, like the 250 or maybe the 500, and just try it. Not necessarily straight away in competition, but most of the time these tracks are open to the public just to try or to train, and see how you feel like going downhill on skates. And sometimes people say that, yeah, I like doing it, for fun, or, just going down the track, but I don't like the competitive aspect. So I just want to be alone on the track and enjoy my time going down, but I don't want to have 3 other people around me trying to chase me all the way down to the bottom and have that stress. So this, you never know if you don't try to at least see what it's like to go down on skates.
Cool. And what's for you personally, what's your favorite aspect of ice cross? What do you like about it most?
I think the biggest thing that I've enjoyed the most for the last 12 years has been just the journey going around. So I know kind of what to expect now with the track, with the feeling of it, with what the sport is like. I still love that, that's for sure. But what I am now looking for the most is new location. Like a couple of years ago, they announced that we would have a race in Japan, so the first race in Asia. And I was super pumped to go there and just to visit a new country, go to a new place, and that's what was, I think, in the end, the most interesting for me, is being able to go to places that normally I wouldn't go just like this, to do some tourism or to visit, but because we had a race there organized, well, I had to go, and that gave me the opportunity to visit and go to some places that I would have not gone. So I don't know where we're going to race next year. I have few ideas, but hopefully we're going to have some new location that we're going to be able to discover.
Good stuff, man. And like, where do you see, like, what are you sort of working on now? And is there any sort of indication of next season?
No, not much. We never get any news before, I would say, November, something like that, November, December. So it's pretty late during the year. We are trying in Switzerland to organize a small race, so that 250 or 500 race. We're trying to contact ski resort and trying to find some sponsors to support the project and present the sport to people in Switzerland. We actually had big events in Lausanne, not far from Geneva, in 2009 and 2013. So it's not completely unknown in Switzerland, but we are trying to push the sport a little bit, and we are lucky to have about, I don't know, 8 to 10 people racing year long in the championship. So kind of the biggest nation on the sport. Obviously, there is Canada, USA, and Russia that are and Finland as well, that they have a lot of people racing and doing the sport. But I think Switzerland is not very far behind, and even though we are a small country, we have the luxury to have a lot of ski resort. And I think if we find the right spots and the right moments, we're going to try to organize something next winter. But again, with that whole situation, like that COVID situation, we don't know what's going to be possible next winter.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen next year. That's a big question mark.
Yeah. And do you think that could be possible, almost doing like local regional events over, like the US would do something similar, Canada, Russia?
I think the location that are going to be able to organize races, like for example, I have no doubt that Russia is going to organize some races, but who is going to be able to attend it?
Yeah,
that's a
big
question.
Thing, right?
And depending on that, it's gonna be the decider. Like, is it going to be a 500, a 1,000, be part of the championship, or just a local race? Or it's just going to depend of how people can travel between one country and the other one. But for sure, we're going to have countries organizing races next year, most probably in Canada as well, Finland for sure. Now, who is going to be able to attend it? And that's a big question.
Yeah. And how can people get hold of you? What's the best way of following the journey? You know, when the races start again.
So I'm kind of posting and communication wise. I'm more like on Instagram, so you can check on my name on Instagram. And this is what during the season I post most of the stuff. Mm-hmm. Off season, I'm not really active on social media. I have a story once in a while just to have fun and maybe keep up with the people asking how the summer is going or what I'm doing, but I'm not really using it during summer. Well, very few. But then during winter, it's where I'm the most active, and this is where I also can give some tips or give information, or I also do some games, or I do like something what I call the pronostic game. So I give the chance people to guess what position I'm going to end up during time trial, because the competition, we first have the time trial, so we go one by one and we have like time that it's going to rank us from 1 to 64, and mm-hmm. This is what is going to make the matrix at the end on Saturday night for the big final. So I play a little game asking people to guess what position and what time I'm going to do. Hopefully it's like the highest, like my expectation are always to be in the first place. So I can see that people are sometimes a bit too optimistic, and sometimes I have people placing me a bit too low. But anyway, I try to play with that. That's very good interaction with the people following the sport. And in exchange for the one that are able to be the closest, I just give away some shirts or hats or from the event, like merchandising and stuff like that. So it's been really fun to play with that. And I actually had like some really good guesses, like by the 10th of the second, that were correct a few times the previous year. So yeah, follow me if you want to see what it's like to be a little bit more from the inside as well during competition. POV runs as well, and I try to do some POV runs with describing exactly what's happening on the track, so commenting and speaking at the same time. My English is not good enough to do it in English, so I'm doing most of the time in French, because it's still like a bit tricky to talk and skate at the same time, but trying my best. But so far that's
especially when you're going like 50 miles an hour, right? It's kind of
so that's what's the people like the most I can see on social media. So I'm trying my best to do that and have fun doing it as well.
Thanks. We'll be watching, and hopefully we'll get some events going when the season starts.
Great. Yeah, hopefully, thanks, man. Hopefully soon enough, and see you soon. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye.
Cheers.